I was excluded from my sister's wedding, so I spent her big day on a beach in Greece. The next day, my brother called me crying. She screamed at everyone, then ran off. I just sipped my drink and said, "Guess karma RSVP'd after all." Now they're begging me to come home because everything's falling apart. I was sitting in my Brooklyn apartment, curled up on the couch with my laptop open, scrolling through my emails when my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen and saw a notification from the family group chat. "Leo, she said yes to the dress. Can't wait for the big day." Party popper red heart attached was a picture of my younger sister, Serena, standing in a wedding boutique, beaming in an expensive-looking white gown. The kind of dress that screamed mom and dad definitely paid for this. The group chat exploded. "Mom, oh my baby looks stunning. Aunt Donna, absolutely breathtaking, sweetheart. You'll be the most beautiful bride. Dad, couldn't be prouder." I stared at the screen, waiting for something. Anything. A text that said, "Can't wait to celebrate with you," or "Hope you're free that weekend." But nothing came. I locked my phone and tossed it onto the coffee table, staring at the ceiling. My stomach twisted, and I hated that it did. I shouldn't be surprised. Serena and I weren't exactly close anymore. We used to be, though. Growing up in Chicago, we did everything together. Bike rides around the neighborhood, whispering under blankets at night, making up stupid inside jokes that would send us into fits of laughter at the dinner table. But somewhere along the way, we changed. Or maybe she changed. She stayed home, always playing the role of the perfect daughter, while I left for college in New York and built a life for myself. My visits home became fewer and further between, and when I did come back, it was always the same. Serena would act distant. Our parents would make passive-aggressive comments about me forgetting my family. And somehow, I'd always end up feeling like the bad guy. Then, 3 years ago, we had a huge blowout at Thanksgiving. "You're so selfish," she had snapped, after 2 mini glasses of wine. "You don't care about this family unless it's convenient for you." I'd scoffed. "Oh right. Because not sacrificing my entire life to be at your beck and call makes me a terrible person. You just," she threw her hands up. "You act like you're above all of this. Like you're better than us." "I don't think I'm better," I shot back. "I just don't think I owe my entire existence to making sure mom and dad never feel an ounce of disappointment." That was the last real conversation we had. And now, she is getting married. Without me. I should have expected it. But that didn't stop the sting. I picked my phone back up and opened the chat again, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. I could have typed something, "Congrats" or "You look great," but why bother? Clearly, I wasn't part of the equation anymore. So, I did what any rational, emotionally mature adult would do. I booked a solo trip to Greece. The morning of Serena's wedding, I woke up in Santorini to the sound of waves crashing against the cliffs. The air smelled like salt and fresh oranges, and the sky outside my villa was painted in soft pinks and purples. I stretched out on the bed, my silk robe slipping off my shoulder, and checked the time. In Chicago, it was probably mid-ceremony by now. Serena was probably standing at the altar, glowing under a canopy of flowers, while my parents beamed from the front row. Meanwhile, I was here, in a 5-star resort with an infinity pool and unlimited cocktails. Not a bad trade-off. By the time the reception was in full swing, I was lounging on a sunbed, sipping a margarita with my toes buried in the warm sand. A middle-aged German couple I'd met the night before clinked their glasses with mine, and we toasted to adventure. I barely thought about the wedding. At least, not until my phone rang the next morning. I groggily reached for it, squinting at the caller ID. "Leo." I frowned. That was weird. Leo wasn't the type to randomly call, especially not first thing in the morning. I answered, still half asleep. "What's up?" Serena lost it. I sat up, suddenly awake. "What do you mean, lost it?" "I mean," she snapped. Leo's voice was frantic. She completely lost her SHD at the reception. She was fine during the ceremony, but then someone, I don't even know who, made some comment about you not being there, and she just exploded. I blinked. Exploded how? She started screaming at everyone. At mom, at dad, at Ethan, at the F-King DJ. She said, he hesitated. She said mom always loved you more. I almost dropped my phone. I let out a dry laugh. Well, that's news to me. She was sobbing, saying nobody actually cared about her, that she always had to be the perfect one, that she felt like no one even liked her. Leo sounded exhausted. Then, out of nowhere, she just ran, grabbed her dress, took off out of the ballroom, and disappeared into the city. No one's seen her since. I stared at the sea in front of me, the waves rising and falling. I should have felt bad, but mostly, I just felt tired. "So," I said, swirling the ice in my drink. "Guess karma RSVP'd after all." Leo groaned. "This isn't funny, okay? Mom's a wreck, dad's pissed, and Ethan doesn't know what the HLL is going on. They're all begging you to come home. They think maybe you can talk to her, get her to come back." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, now they want me around? When is it convenient?" "Look, I get it. I do. But it's bad. Like, really bad. Serena's spiraling. Please, just come home." I sighed, rubbing my temple. I should have said no. I wanted to say no. But against my better judgment, I booked a flight home. When I walked through my parents' front door, I was immediately ambushed by my mom, who pulled me into a crushing hug. "Oh, honey," she whispered, her voice thick with tears. "Thank you for coming." My dad stood a few feet away, looking stiff and uncomfortable, as if he wasn't sure how to react to me being there. Leo gave me a look. See what I mean? He filled me in. Serena was holed up in a hotel, refusing to see anyone. So, I went to her. She was sitting on the floor of the hotel suite, still in her ruined wedding dress, the hem dirty and torn. "Guess this isn't the honeymoon suite," I said, leaning against the doorway. Her head snapped up, eyes narrowing. "What the HLL are you doing here?" I shrugged. "Mom and Dad begged. Figured I'd get a free meal out of it." She let out a bitter laugh. "Of course they did. I screw up, and suddenly you're the only one who can fix it." I sat down across from her, staring at the ceiling. "Why'd you really lose it, Serena?" She hesitated. Then, in a small voice, she said, "Because I hated that you weren't there." I turned to her, surprised. "I thought I didn't want you there," she admitted. "But the second people started talking about it, I don't know. It felt wrong." I exhaled, my chest tight. "Well," I said after a moment, "you could have just invited me." She let out a weak laugh. "Yeah, that probably would have been easier." And for the first time in years, we actually talked. I leaned my head back against the wall, exhaling slowly. Serena looked exhausted, her makeup smudged, her hair still pinned in some intricate bridal updo that now just looked sad. The wedding dress she had once been beaming in was wrinkled, the delicate lace at the hem dirted from whatever city streets she had run through. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The only sound in the room was the faint hum of the hotel air conditioning. Then, finally, I broke the silence. "So what exactly was the breaking point?" I asked, my voice softer now. Serena let out a slow, shaky breath and hugged her knees to her chest. "I don't know," she muttered. "One second, I was fine. The next, someone, maybe it was Aunt Donna, said something about you. Like, 'Oh, it's such a shame your sister isn't here.' And I just lost it." I raised an eyebrow. "I feel like that's not just about me, though." She let out a humorless laugh. "Of course it's not just about you," she said, rubbing her temples. "It's everything. It's the pressure, the expectations, the way Mom and Dad have always treated me, like I had to be perfect all the time. Like I had to be the good one just because you—" She hesitated. "Just because you left." I frowned. "I didn't leave to hurt anyone, Serena. I just needed space. Needed a life that wasn't all about what Mom and Dad wanted." "I know," she said quietly, "but it didn't feel like that to me. It felt like you got to run off and be independent and do whatever you wanted, while I was the one who had to stay behind and be the reliable one, the responsible one." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. It had never occurred to me that she felt trapped, that while I had been rebelling and carving my own path, she had been stuck playing the role of the golden child, feeling just as suffocated, just in a different way. Serena sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I think I started resenting you for it. And then, when I got engaged, I told myself I didn't need you there, that it didn't matter. But when the day actually came, I realized that wasn't true." I swallowed hard. A lump formed in my throat, but I pushed it down. "Why didn't you just invite me then?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. She let out a dry laugh. "Because I'm a stubborn idiot, obviously." I smirked. "Well, yeah, we are related, after all." She gave me a look, but didn't argue. Instead, she sighed again, this time deeper, heavier. Like all the fight had drained out of her. "I really screwed everything up, didn't I?" she mumbled. I tilted my head. "That depends. Is Ethan still speaking to you?" She flinched, and my stomach dropped a little. "I don't know," she admitted. "Okay, that was bad. What happened between you two?" I asked carefully. Serena closed her eyes for a long moment, then finally said, "He tried to calm me down when I was yelling at everyone. But I snapped at him too. Told him he didn't understand. That he didn't," she bit her lip. "That maybe he wasn't the person I thought he was." I winced. "Oof. Yeah." She buried her face in her hands. "It was bad. And after I ran off, I turned my phone off. I haven't talked to him since." I blew out a slow breath, processing this new information. I'd assumed she'd just had a dramatic meltdown and needed to cool off. But if she had said that to her brand new husband on their wedding night, this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about her. About something deeper than a petty sibling fight. "Serena," I said carefully, "do you actually want to be married to him?" She looked up sharply, eyes wide. "Of course I do." I held up my hands. Okay. Just making sure. Because if you do, you might want to fix this before it's too late." She groaned, flopping onto her back on the floor. "But how? I've already made a mess of everything." I nudged her with my foot. "You could start by talking to him." She huffed, staring at the ceiling. "What if he doesn't want to talk to me?" "Then you'll at least know where you stand," I said simply. "But if you don't do anything, you'll just be sitting here in a filthy wedding dress, drinking minibar vodka until someone forces you to go home." She gave me an unimpressed look. You really know how to give a pep talk. It's a gift. She sighed, sitting up again and hugging her knees. Do you think I can fix this? I studied her carefully. She looked so lost. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something shift between us. Like maybe, just maybe, we weren't on opposite sides anymore. Yeah, I said finally. I think you can. She exhaled slowly, then pulled out her phone. I watched as she hesitated, her thumb hovering over the screen before she finally unlocked it and scrolled through her contacts. Then, before she could overthink it, she pressed call. The phone rang, and we waited. Serena stared at the phone screen as it rang, her fingers gripping the edges of the device like she was afraid it might slip away. My eyes flicked between her and the screen, watching as her breath hitched slightly with every passing ring. Then, click. Hello. I barely heard Ethan's voice through the tiny speaker before Serena said in a sharp breath. Then, without warning, ended the call. I blinked. What the HLL was that? She dropped the phone onto the carpet like it had burned her. I panicked. I groaned, rubbing my temples. Serena, seriously? You've spent the last 2 days crying in a hotel room, and now that you actually have a chance to fix it, you hang up on him? She looked at me helplessly. I don't even know what to say. How about sorry? I snapped. She scowled but didn't argue. Instead, she picked up her phone again, staring at it like it might spontaneously give her the right words. Before she could overthink it again, her phone buzzed. Ethan was calling her back. Her eyes shot to mine, panicked. I gestured wildly. Answer it. With a shaky breath, she swiped to accept the call. Hey, she said, her voice small. There was a pause on the other end. Then, Serena? Ethan's voice was softer now, but guarded. I could hear the tension through the phone. Serena swallowed. Yeah, it's me. Another pause. Are you okay? Ethan asked, and God, the way he said it, it wasn't just a casual question. It was loaded. Serena squeezed her eyes shut. I don't know. I stayed quiet, watching her carefully. She was shaking slightly, pressing the phone against her ear like it was the only thing tethering her to reality. I know I screwed everything up, she said finally, voice barely above a whisper. I freaked out. And I hurt you. And her voice cracked. I don't know how to fix it. There was a long silence. Then, Ethan sighed. It was deep, exhausted. Like he'd spent the last 2 days carrying the weight of her meltdown on his shoulders. You really hurt me, Serena, he said quietly. She let out a shaky breath. I know. I spent our wedding night alone. She flinched like he had physically struck her. I saw her throat bob as she swallowed back tears. I don't even know why I did it, she admitted. I just felt like I was losing control, like everything was slipping away and I couldn't stop it. Ethan didn't respond right away. Then, finally, he asked, was it us? Did I do something? Serena's eyes snapped open, horrified. No, Ethan, no. It was never you. You didn't do anything wrong. I've spent my whole life trying to be perfect. And for some reason, on the biggest day of my life, she let out a bitter laugh. I broke. The line was quiet. Then, Ethan sighed again. I don't know what to do with that, Serena. Her face crumpled. I don't either. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Then, Ethan said, where are you? Serena hesitated. The Langstone Hotel, room 514. Another pause. Then, I'm coming over. Serena's breath hitched. Okay. The line went dead. She turned to me, her face pale. What if he just came to break up with me? I exhaled through my nose. Then, at least, you'll know. But if he's coming all the way here, I don't think he's ready to just throw everything away yet. She nodded stiffly, pressing her palms against the carpet to steady herself. I could tell she was still shaking. Okay, she breathed. Okay. Then, suddenly, her eyes widened in horror. Oh my God, I still look like a wreck. I snorted. Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but you look like the ghost of weddings past. She groaned, jumping to her feet and rushing toward the hotel bathroom. I need to wash my face. Do you think I have time to shower? Probably not. I checked my watch. But maybe a hairbrush and some concealer will stop you from looking like a cautionary tale. She flipped me off as she disappeared into the bathroom, and for the first time in days, I felt like we were us again. But that didn't change the fact that in less than 20 minutes, Ethan would be here, and everything would come to a head. 15 minutes later, Serena had managed to pull herself together enough to not look like a complete disaster. She had changed into a simple sweater and leggings, brushed out the rat's nest in her hair, and wiped away the smudged mascara from her eyes. She still looked tired, worn, like she hadn't fully come back down to earth yet. But she also looked ready. There was a knock at the door. Serena's entire body went stiff. She turned to me, eyes wide. What do I say? I shrugged. I don't know. Maybe start with hi. She groaned. This isn't funny. But before she could talk herself out of it, I walked to the door and pulled it open. Ethan stood there, looking just as exhausted as Serena. His dark brown hair was slightly disheveled, and he had dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept since the wedding. His gaze flicked to me for a second before settling on Serena. For a long moment, neither of them said a word. Then, finally, Ethan sighed. Hey, he said quietly. Serena swallowed. Hey. I cleared my throat. So, I'm just gonna. I gestured toward the door. Give you guys a minute. Serena shot me a desperate look, but I ignored it and slipped out into the hallway, closing the door behind me. I leaned against the wall, exhaling heavily. Now, all I could do was wait. I checked my phone while standing outside Serena's hotel room, pretending I wasn't eavesdropping, but let's be real, I totally was. There was a long, heavy silence inside. Then, Ethan spoke. You really ran out of our wedding? His voice was quiet, but there was an edge to it. Not angry, just tired. Serena took a shaky breath. Yeah. Do you have any idea what that felt like? Serena didn't answer right away. I could imagine her fidgeting, twisting her hands together like she always did when she was anxious. I do now, she admitted. And I'm sorry. Ethan, her voice cracked. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. Ethan let out a sharp breath, like he was holding back a lot more than he was saying. Then why, he asked. Why did you just leave? You didn't even talk to me. You didn't tell me you were overwhelmed or scared or whatever the HLL was going through your head. You just ran. I winced. He had a point. Serena let out a shaky exhale. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know why I did it. She paused. It felt like everything was caving in on me. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was being crushed by expectations, by years of always trying to be what everyone needed me to be. And when I heard someone bring up my sister not being there, it was like she stopped, swallowing hard. Like it confirmed what I was already feeling, that I'd spent my whole life doing what I thought was right, and somehow, I still wasn't enough. My heart clenched a little. Ethan didn't say anything at first. Then, after a long pause, he said, You were enough for me. Serena let out a soft, broken sound. I felt a lump rise in my throat, and suddenly, I felt like maybe I shouldn't be eavesdropping. I took a step away from the door, giving them a sliver of privacy. But even from where I stood, I could still hear them. I love you, Serena, Ethan said, his voice quieter now. But I can't be in a marriage where you run away every time something feels overwhelming. I need to know that when things get hard, you won't just disappear. Serena sniffled. I know, she said hoarsely. And I swear, I never wanted to hurt you. She exhaled shakily. I don't know how to be better at this. At handling things the way normal people do. There was another long silence. Then, Ethan sighed. I don't need you to be perfect, Serena, he said. I just need you to be here. My chest tightened. I wanted to believe Serena could fix this, that she and Ethan could somehow come back from this. But part of me wondered if wanting something was enough. Because some mistakes didn't just vanish with an apology. And running away on your wedding night? That was the kind of mistake that left a scar. The question was Ethan willing to live with it? And maybe more importantly, was Serena? I leaned against the hallway wall, staring at my phone, pretending I wasn't listening in. But let's be real, I was completely eavesdropping. Inside the hotel room, Serena sniffled. I don't need to be perfect, she repeated Ethan's words softly, like she was testing how they felt in her mouth. Then why does it feel like I do? Like my whole life, I've been told what I should be, what I should do, and I did it. And it still wasn't enough. Ethan sighed. I can't answer that for you, Serena. His voice was heavy, tired. But I can tell you this, running away from it won't fix it. And it sure as HLL won't fix us. There was a long silence. And then, Serena asked, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. Do you still want to fix us? My breath caught. I heard Ethan shift. I imagined him rubbing a hand down his face, staring at her, debating whether she was still the woman he wanted to spend his life with. Finally, he spoke. I don't know. I exhaled slowly. Well, damn. You broke something, Serena, he continued. And I don't know if it can go back to the way it was. Another silence. Then Serena, sounding smaller than I'd ever heard her. I don't know if I even want it to. My eyebrows shot up. What? Ethan hesitated. What do you mean? Serena let out a breath. I think I was trying so hard to be something for everyone else that I never stopped to think about what I actually wanted. And maybe what I really wanted wasn't this wedding. Wasn't this life. Maybe I just convinced myself that I did because it was what I was supposed to want. Ethan didn't say anything. And I knew. That was the moment everything changed. Because Serena had finally stopped pretending. Finally stopped forcing herself into a mold she didn't fit in. And Ethan? He wasn't fighting her on it. I heard the shuffle of movement. Then Ethan sighed. I don't think we should force something that isn't right. Serena sniffled. Yeah, I think you're right. And just like that, it was over. No screaming, no dramatic storming out. Just the quiet unraveling of something that had already been coming undone. After a few moments, I heard Ethan stand. I'll have my mom cancel the honeymoon flights, he said. Serena let out a breathy laugh, more sad than anything. I guess I'll let the venue know we won't be needing that deposit back. I smirked a little. At least she hadn't lost her sense of humor. A pause. Then Ethan said, Take care of yourself, Serena. You too. I barely had time to step back before the hotel room door opened and Ethan walked out. He met my eyes for a moment. And to my surprise, he didn't look furious, just relieved, like he'd been carrying something heavy for too long and was finally putting it down. I nodded at him. Take care, man. He nodded back. Then, without another word, he walked down the hall, disappearing around the corner. I took a deep breath, exhaled, then stepped inside. Serena was sitting on the bed, staring at the wall. You okay? I asked. She let out a tired chuckle. We're calling off the marriage, and somehow, I feel lighter than I have in years. So yeah, I think I'm okay. I grinned. Guess that's what happens when you stop living for other people. She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling now. A real smile. And that's when it hit me. Serena had spent so long trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect fiancée, the perfect everything, that she had never once let herself just be. Until now. I sat on the bed next to her. So what's next? She shrugged. First, I think I'm gonna book a flight somewhere. Just go away for a little bit. Not run away, she clarified, giving me a look. Just go somewhere for me. I smirked. Sounds like Greece is nice this time of year. She groaned. Oh, shut up. I laughed, and for the first time in years, we felt like real siblings again. Then, Serena turned to me, her eyes shining. Hey, she said. Thanks for not rubbing it in. I smirked. Oh, don't get me wrong. I totally told you Karma RSVP'd. She rolled her eyes, but she laughed. And just like that, I knew she was going to be just fine. Because for the first time in her life, she was finally choosing herself. And that was the best revenge of all. Serena thought she was punishing me by excluding me, but in the end, she destroyed the very thing she was trying to protect. And I got to sip cocktails in Greece while watching it all unfold. Perfect.